this is now the pot. Okay, that's in the pot. After that, we now get to see 3 cards. Okay, as you will have seen in the instructions or whether you watch a video, they always bury a card, standard poker rules, and then we're going to see the flop. That is the first 3 cards of the 5 that are going to be out there. So we see a flop. And what we have here with the flop, there's our flop. Okay, for me, this is a very good flop. Okay, I staged all this, so I got a good flop. Okay, so I've got 2 things going on here that are really good for me. The first obvious one is I now have a pair of queens. Okay, it's always stronger to have something rather than something that I'm drawing for, because that's the other one. The other one is I now have 4 spades. There are 4 spades potentially to a flush, which is 5 of the same ones. Okay, but right now this is nothing. Okay, this has not yet added up to anything. So you got to be careful about falling in love with this, because this depends upon one of the next 2 cards that are going to get shown out there is a spade. Okay, so this one, I'm excited about this one because flushes are very powerful. So a flush would be really powerful, but it's way easier to be risking on the chances of this when this is already sitting there, because this is already a hand. Now this becomes a fairly easy hand to play from this person's standpoint, because they got a couple of things going for them. Now, are there risks to this? Yes, there are risks to this, because I have a pair of queens sitting here. But what is potentially also sitting here? Oh, the second half of a pair of aces. If we're playing good cards, and if one of the basic 101s of this is play good cards, what is the best card you can be holding in your hand? It's going to be an ace. And so the least likely hands to be mucked, the one that got thrown away here, was an ace. Okay, the most likely card to be held is aces. I know there's an ace right there. I don't have an ace, which means there are 3 other aces out there someplace. So this one's risky because there's a chance that other ace is right there someplace. And so that pair of queens 3-handed is strong. There's no doubt about it. It's strong. It's not risk my entire tournament or my entire stack of money strong, because what it now says is I want to figure out what's going on out here. So, okay, the next thing that's going to happen, the dealer's here, so this person it's going to be this person to move first. I had to play first, I had to bet first last time. That's because those people had already bet. They just had done it in the blinds, so they were forced to do it, and it came back around and finished with them trying to decide. And because I put 3 times in, it came around and they had to decide were they still in, and then this person was last to act. And they could have pushed in more. They had lots of choices too. Okay? In this case, so now this person, let's say that this person checked, which means they didn't bet at all. Okay, so this person checked. This person made a bet. And let's say that this person, because of what they'd seen me do, this person decided to bet 3 times the big blind again. Is that a big bet? No, it's a smaller bet this time than it was last time. Why? Well, because they're standing to win all of this for that. So it's way under half the pot or whatever. So it's a bet. I mean, with the way I've got the chips laid out here, it's a pretty big bet based upon how much we have. It's not a big bet based upon the pot. Okay? So, but they've made a bet. Okay? So they said, so what am I going to do? It's now my decision. How do I make this decision? Well, I can make the decision based upon a group of things. One, they've given me some information. They've given me information twice now. They gave me information because I put in a bet before, and they felt strong enough about the 2 cards that were sitting there that they decided to follow my 3 times the big blind bet in. So that says they feel good about their cards. They felt good about those cards before seeing these. Okay? They knew I felt good about my cards because I was the first one to bet. With them following on behind me, I put in a bet before. So knowing I let out last time, they matched that. They now decided to put something in. They've got to think I'm unlikely to just get scared away by a bet that size. Okay? They don't think I'm going away. If I was willing to bet that much before I saw any cards, chances I'm not going, I've already got all this at risk. I've got that much at risk already. So the odds suggest to me I should play at least that much. And so that's not that strong a bet. Okay? So they feel good about it because they don't think I'm going away. That says they think their cards are pretty strong. Okay? I've got to take into that account. I've got to take into account that I've got a pretty good thing going here. I've got a really good thing going here if I can get another spade to show up. Okay? And I've got to be careful of this one. Okay? And there are other things here. There's potentially a straight sitting here. These are connectors. So if they were sitting on Jack King, they've got a straight potential sitting there. So you see, I got to be thinking about their cards too. So I've got to think about what am I against and what am I trying to accomplish here. Okay? So I've got to decide if I want to play ball with this. I definitely do want to play ball with this, but I'm a little, I can decide to be hesitant. It depends on how aggressive I'm being and all these sorts of things. I want to get all the way into that tonight. But I'm going to say, okay, yes, I want to play ball. Yes, I feel okay about this, but they're playing strong enough that I'm not getting overly excited here. And so, okay, I'm gonna come along and say, okay, I'm along in that too. And let's say this person folds. So this person chickens out and they're done. And so that one, so now we're down to 2 hands and this is in the pot. So now we're gonna decide that these are the biggest chips. So these are worth twice whatever these are. So we're not out of money yet, okay? So as you're looking at, so now we've got these 3. Okay, so we've bet, I bet, they bet. It's time for another card. So just as before, they're going to bury a card, okay? And we're going to get the next one. Oh, okay, so now we got a really interesting card, okay? We got a jack, but it's not a spade. Improved my hand a lot. I now went from a pair, and a pair, 2-handed a pair is pretty good. 4-handed a pair's pretty good. High card pair, pretty good. But a pair is still the lowest. The only thing lower that counts is high card. Okay? It's basically flip a card and whoever's got the highest card. So it's the lowest hand that really counts is a pair. I've now bettered that by I've got 2 pairs. Okay? So that has made my hand significantly better. Okay? We're waiting. What do they do? Okay? In this scenario, we're going to say they matched me and they bet out last time. So now let's say they're going to play a little bit stronger. So they bet that. Okay? So if each of these are, so that's 4 big blinds. Actually, let's make it stronger. Let's say that they go like that. That's 8 big blinds. Okay? 8 big blinds. Is that a big bet? It's a reason. With the amount of chips we have, that's a big bet. With the amount that's in the pot, it's not such a big bet. Because if we go, there's 3, 6, 8, 3, 6, 7. So the bet they just did is about half the pot. Full pot is pretty big bet. That's a big bet. Half the pot is a strong bet, especially in this scenario. It's a pretty strong bet. That's a strong bet, and that tells me either they really like those cards or they'd really like me to go away. They'd really like to see how serious I am about this. Okay? So they've made this strong bet. I have some choices now. What are my choices going to be? Obviously, I feel good about this. Obviously, the pot in here is, so basically that is, since that's half a pot, if I make the bet, the odds are saying I am putting in 1 to get 3. Since that was kind of a half-size bet. So I'm betting if I equal that, and that's equal to that, and this is almost equal to that, basically it's a 1 to 3 bet. So what I'm saying is I have to win 1 out of 3 times to make matching that a good choice. Looking at the cards that I have right now, am I likely to win 1 out of 3 times with this hand? Oh, heck yeah. Okay? It's strong enough for that. So I already know this is a pretty good bet. And which tells me, so that's step number 1. This is a good bet. I think I would win this 1 out of 3 times. Do you have to be able to do the odds immediately? No, you don't. Okay, what I want you to do is be able to go, is this a strong bet? Yeah, it's a strong bet, but it's not a huge bet. Is this a good enough hand to meet a strong bet? Yes, it is. Okay, so it's good enough for that. So I'm not going to fold. So now my choices are match that bet or raise. Why would I do either of those things? Okay, match the bet would be, I'm feeling good, but I'm not overwhelmed with it. I'm cautious. I don't want to get, because I'm trying to not lose everything I have if I'm wrong. Okay? I might match that bet because I think this is really strong against them. And I want them to keep playing, because if I raise, they might go away, and I think I can get more out of the stack. I think maybe I can get the rest of that stack. Okay? And so if I think this is really strong against them. Now, again, this is the higher level stuff we'll talk about some other day, is if we're playing, one of the pieces that right now we can't take into account at all is there's no person sitting here. And without the person sitting here, I've been trying to gather information about this person the whole night. And so I know, is this the way they normally play, or is this different than they normally play? Because I'm going to be trying to read that to go, I want to know, are they doing this because their hand's really strong, or are they doing it because they want me to go away? And I'm not even really talking about that right now. Just know that that's one of the most important things if it's not here. That would definitely play into this, though. Okay? Right now, we're going to try to play off of the cards. That's why this is such a great game, is because this game is played on so many levels, and just doing what we're doing here is still very base level, because right now we're just looking at the cards and chips. And the cards and chips are not, I would say they're barely half of the game. Okay? It depends. Some people are really, really good at the math and the statistics and the odds and the averages and those sorts of things. It's more than half the game for them. For me and the way I play, it's less than half the game for me, because more of the game is going to be where we talk about later in actually dealing with these people. We actually have a person there, and I've used the rest of the night so that I'm very likely to know what this is saying. That's what I want to do, is I want to have a lot more information than this. But the basics is I can match it. Matching it means they can't go away. Okay, they've already put in, so we're going to see the next card. Raising it might mean that we're not going to see the next card. So let's talk about that. So if I raise, we're getting to the point where I can double this raise. Their stack's not very big over here, so I'm likely either going to put me all in or put them all in, which, by the way, is the exact same thing. If I put them all in, that's the most they can bet. They can't lose more than they have. And why would I do that? If I do that, it's going to result in either scaring them out because they have to risk everything else they have. And if they were not strong, if they were bluffing or anything, that'll make them go away. If I think they're strong, but I think I'm stronger, I might do that because that's the most chips I can get out of them. Or I might do it because I would like to increase the chances that they're going to go away. So if I slide everything in, I am saying this is as strong as I can be. I am so confident in this, I'm going to risk everything I have and I slide into it. I might do that when I don't feel that way, because what I don't want to do is leave them a chance to get another card. Okay? In this case, I don't see a giant risk. We'll talk about other card situations in future videos. But right now, there's not something there. I guess A king, if they're sitting on a king, okay, if they're sitting on a king and a 10, something like that, or if they're sitting on king, maybe they're sitting they were sitting on queen, king, something like that, which is a very strong hand for them to have held onto. Would make total sense the way they're playing if they're on that. I might not want to see a 10 come up. In this case, though, I've got as strong a drawing hand as them. And so there are reasons I might push to get them to behave the way I want them to. So I can react with my chips based upon what I see. I can also react on them based upon what I'd like to make happen. Okay? In this case, because I would like to see this play out, I'm going to just match them. So I'm calling. Now we've got a big pot. By the amount of chips laying on this table, that is a huge pot. Okay? We don't know what the numbers are, but based upon how many chips we started this hand with, that is the majority of chips that started this hand are now in the pot there. We are now playing a monster pot.